With both President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling the military operations inside of Iran successful, many people worry it didn't damage the Islamic Republic's regime as much as they hoped for. Joining us now to discuss is Amit Asa, the founder and CEO of Spy Information. Thank you so much for being with us today. What is your response to that first question that I posed? Was this war inside of Iran successful? You know, we're hearing today that 700 people were arrested for allegedly working with Mossad. In addition, 3 men inside of Iran were hanged by the regime for also allegedly working with Israel. What is your take on that?
First, we have to see this information and not believing what the Iranians say about these people working with the Mossad. It's more frightening the people that will not help the Mossad in any kind of connection. So we have to take it very carefully, this information. And of course, we understand that the Iranian will want to frighten the people at the street not to work. And it's good for us to understand that they are afraid from the Mossad because they see what we can do with our intelligence. This one thing. And another thing that we have to understand that people inside Iran, we have a large quantity of people, it's more than 50% now, wants to change the regime, the government. So they are afraid because we have the forces of the Islamic regime forces, God, that is putting very much pressure on the people. So they're afraid to go to the streets, to do these riots that we saw at the past, the hijab riots, for example. These are the youngest people in Iran. They want the change, they want prosperity, and they're still afraid. What they saw now, that Iran is weak, because they saw the strikes of Israel inside Iran, they saw the ability of Israel, and also they saw the weakness of the regime. So now we can hear inside Iran and also outside Iran other voices that maybe we can change this regime and put them down.
But I think Israelis that I've spoken with feel skeptical that, Netanyahu and Trump are saying this is a successful operation. They now see the Islamic Republic cutting off their population even more to society. You mentioned before internet blockouts, more than what we've also probably seen in the past. Is there enough damage that was done to the regime itself, though? We know that IRGC commanders and senior officials inside of the government were also taken out, but could there have been more?
Yes, I think that the war is not ended yet. We had 2 missions, very successful missions, that it was very important to put them down is the Islamic regime nuclear ability. It was aiming Israel for very short time now, so we had to put it down. And also another threat was the ballistic. We did a very good job with that, but we understand that you can reconstruct all this ability again, and the regime is now announced that they will want to reconstruct it. So we have to do more, and maybe in some kind of agreement we will have the ability to put them down from this plan that they have. But I'm skeptic about it because this radical Islam regime doesn't want to get back to what we want them to be, not radical. And we will need to do something in a very new future. The war is not ended yet.
And it makes sense because just yesterday, the IDF chief of staff said the campaign against Iran is not over yet. But you mentioned before ballistic missiles. I think the Israeli public has really learned a lesson within the last 12 days of the strength and force of these ballistic missiles. We saw just one missile yesterday destroy the backside of a building in Beersheba, killing 4 to 5 people. I was there, I was watching first responders pick up the remains of what they could find of these innocent civilians that were killed. How much of the ballistic missiles, or how many ballistic missiles do you think Iran still has? And do you think it's been seriously cut off by half?
Yeah, I think it's more than a half that we cut off. And also, it's not just the number of the ballistic missiles, it's also the launchers. Launchers of these missiles is less than they need, and we are hunting them. We have the ability to go over Iran in any place that we want. The sky is empty and free for us because the activity that we did. So we are hunting them one by one. And, you know, even if they have just a few thousand, hundreds or maybe dozens of missiles, it's enough one missile to hit Israel in populated area to make very big damage as we saw. So it's not that optimistic, but we know that it comes to an end.
Right.
If we will have the chance, if this ceasefire will not last, we will deal hunting all these launchers and missiles, and I think that we can reduce them very much.
We have about a minute left, but Israeli officials have continued to say that Iran is the head of the snake when it comes to the terror proxies in the region. This ongoing war with Hamas, between Israel and Hamas, is still happening inside of Gaza. Could there be a hostage ceasefire deal happening soon?
I think I hope that we have to linkage between the agreement that we will have with the Iranian to what happens now in Hamas in Gaza, because Iranian puts what we have, what we see in Hamas now. So we have to linkage it. We have to put the pressure that we have now on the Iranian into a very good and better agreement with the Hamas, because now we have the pressure on them better than we had before.
Interesting, as these regional ties continue to change. And in here, between Israel and every other country, we'll continue to see that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.